Welcome once again to another thrilling instalment of It's Football Not Soccer with the regular four of us. We almost had a stand-in for you this week. Roped in some random guy from one of our leagues to see if we could add his wisdom to the mix. But instead, it's the usual four of us. Ben's Browns, which I think weren't awful this week, kind of.
Definitely not awful, but you wouldn't wander into the realms of good. There, would you? Staying a bit back from good, but no, they definitely had a better display. We didn't give up nearly 200 yards in penalties, so that was a positive.
Still a lot, though, wasn't it?
And we broke a quarterback, so
that's true.
And not with mono like the Buffalo Bills did.
And the Buffalo Bills, Dan.
Right on track.
Perfect season.
2-0 so far, only another 14 wins to go. 15.
Are we up in the ante with this? Are we saying no? We're not 11-5, we're 16.
11's comfortable. I'm happy with 11. I'm happy with 11.
It was the right number.
Yeah.
It was totally realistic, respectable number.
It's happening.
Yeah, excellent. Did the Eagles win?
No.
So, Wig's slightly less glorious week. About as glorious as my week as well. The Jags not performing very well lately, and we're about to lose one of our best players.
Yep.
That's going to be difficult.
Doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It's not the Bills. Sorry, it's not the Finns fire sale, but it's bad. It's bad. I don't like the idea of losing Ramsey. Yeah. He'd be one of our kind of flagship players at the moment.
He's definitely one of your franchise players, isn't he?
It's a player that people play to watch, I think, to see what difference he'll make on the board.
And when people can start throwing against you, then your tactic of just holding that
grinding it out and giving the ball to Fournette
becomes dangerous.
Yeah, we wanted to slow the pace of the game down, I think, from the way that they look like they want to play. And being able to rush their QB is really good for us because it grinds them out. But if they've got an easy out that isn't being covered as easily or as comfortably by one of these top tier guys that we've got in the backfield, we still got good players. Just it'd be sad to see one of our good players leave so early on in their career before we've got a chance to really milk them for all they're worth.
Do you feel the Jags have regressed on the defence, or do you think it's just a case that they've played the two best offences?
We've not got a good early schedule. It's just not good for us, and we don't do well against the Titans either. So we're probably going to lose this game, which is even more disappointing. It's just a bad run of the first few games, but I don't think it gets particularly easy for us at any stage. Which seems a bit unfair, really, given the way the Patriots have had their early scheme go.
Yeah. Bills have had a nice, easy schedule as well to start us off, and the Bengals next for us. Then it does get difficult with the Patriots in week 4, but
having to play the Patriots twice a year is going to be quite painful. But have you got like Dolphin syndrome where you get to beat them once a year, regardless?
Not quite as well as the Dolphins have done in recent years, but no, we'll do something to them, I think. Sounded menacing.
Yeah.
So far, the two teams that we've played have had to replace their starting QBs. So I'm just saying. Tom,
Breaker Brady. Imagine that.
I wouldn't like to do that now. I'd like to beat them fairly and squarely, or fairly squarely.
Something like that.
What's the phrase?
Fair and square.
Fair and squarely.
Fairly squarely. I'd like to beat them fairly squarely.
Yeah, I'd like to get geometry involved in some way.
Want to beat them rhombically. Hexagonally. So we had our little survivor bets from the previous week, which I'm a little bit sad about because basically the league ruling system decided it was going to intervene and make sure the Chargers didn't win their game. They just went, no, you can't score any points, get out. Someone sabotaged the Chargers kicker again, which is something they've had loads of problems with. And as a result, we've lost to the Lions by a point. Boo, suck. I don't think anyone else has really got like a second team that they're keen on.
Yeah. Through and through.
I like the Cowboys.
He's so dirty, Ben.
Hold on,
I said that out loud.
Calm yourself down. You're a Chiefs fan.
Not a Chiefs fan. Not a Chiefs fan.
Okay, well, you're
a fan of whoever's winning the most.
I'm a fan of I'm a fan of Mahomes. I'm a fan of Mahomes, particularly for fantasy. That's how it should be.
And how has he impacted on your record then, Wick? How are you doing with Mahomes?
He's doing all right. He's certainly not the one who's let me down in any way.
Well,
yeah, but he wouldn't, would he? Because he's your first pick, but he impacts the rest of your team. How's your team as a whole? Well, my quarterback scored a lot of points. I mean, I lost.
Yeah. So overall, he's paying off quite well with it. I'm not feeling the pinch like you might think by giving up one of those earlier picks for him, because there's all of a sudden a bit of a demand for the quarterbacks with it, and having Mahomes healthy, scoring big points week in week out, not having to worry about it, it makes looking for the players to fill the gaps in my team an awful lot easier. Certainly not hunting for a quarterback anytime soon.
That does bring us on to the important news around the league, is that basically every quarterback this year is going to catch fire and die.
A quarterback cull.
Yeah, some sort of QB catastrophe.
Oh.
There's no way to put that together, is there?
Oh.
But yeah, everyone's gone. So after Luck decided to randomly retire, Big Ben's out this week. Breeze's thumb is going to keep him out for a few weeks, but he's not gone onto IR, has he?
No,
Still talking
year,
6 week.
well, yeah.
Big's been out for the year.
Yeah.
Cam out for an amount of time.
Yeah, which is quite cloudy. We're not too sure how long he's out for, but he was in a walking boot recently. He's certainly not starting this week, they've come out and said, haven't they?
Yeah,
So,
there was talks to begin with that it was his shoulder he'd re-aggravated, and then it became his foot, so it could be both. It's looking...
Don't know. I've
Yeah,
not
it's
heard
strange
anything about his shoulder, but I'd certainly...
No, it was the early reports before it came out he was in a boot.
Okay.
So it might have been that it was a bit of speculation with
Sure.
it, but there might be that the boot's covering up
Yeah.
more. Yeah, either way, he didn't look much like the quarterback from the past. There was nothing super about Cam this week.
Darnold out.
Darnold, yeah.
I was bullish on the gang green, and unfortunately, it looks like it's all gone a bit messy in Jetstown. They on their third quarterback now.
Yeah.
So quarterback.
Yeah.
Who is? I mean, has he actually played an NFL game out?
No, but he worked with Gase last year, I think, at Miami.
Oh, good. That's a great resume to have, isn't it? But yeah, they're really sort of scraping the barrel for QBs, which is a mess, an absolute mess for them.
It's more or less written them off for the foreseeable, at least.
Kind of, but they can revert to Bill's form. Do the Tyrod Taylor. He's a glorified handoff machine. Give the ball to Bell and let Bell win you a game.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly rode Bell in the last game, didn't they?
It certainly seems to be a better situation for the Jets than the one that's perhaps going to develop in the Steelers town. Because I think it is a mess there. Nothing's looked like it's working. I mean, it's early doors of the season, but...
They've certainly... I mean, the first game against the Patriots was a shambles.
Crippling, wasn't it?
That was... They seem to have a lack of discipline. They're just giving penalties away, silly penalties, and they just could not get going on offense. And whether that's just how good the Patriots defense is, which they showed against Miami, but I don't know if that counts. But the Patriots are always going to be a scary defense to face just because of the schemes and everything. Yeah.
Gardner Minshew showing that he's not the worst quarterback in history.
No, I'm starting to like his
Pleasing.
style a great deal. He's
rocking
made
the
that name
town.
for himself. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Certainly got the confidence to fill that void.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And he's got a bit of a swagger to him that
The
can...
Mustang Moustache.
that kind of attitude can reinvigorate a crowd with it as well.
Yeah.
That is the moustache that a gunslinger would wear, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, for sure. And he nearly got them the game.
Well,
If they hadn't have gone for a 4-net play, maybe. He was the hot hand.
it was a very tight game, and it didn't always have to go the other way. Could very well have been ours.
Could have been. Should have been, really.
But you can. It doesn't feel right to say that when it's your team, does it? You can't just keep claiming every game should have been yours.
It should have been me.
Ultimately, it is still the Jags. And, we don't traditionally win lots of games per season. But it's nice to see that we were still in there. And as much of a washout as it was against the Chiefs, I think we made a good account of ourselves. It wasn't an embarrassing loss. But yeah, Eli Manning, embarrassing loss.
Yeah, to the Bills as well. Jeez.
I mean, that team has got some colossal holes in it. They've got no back defence.
It's been stripped
No
down parts.
secondary.
No secondary.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of the Lions there for a second. That Darius Slay for the Lions.
Yeah, but he didn't have a good game until he made that one interception with it, and that changed the entire game. And Yeah, so you only need to do one thing
That's
sometimes.
it, yeah.
Do we think the Giants are going to get substantially better with Jones coming in as the starter?
The problem is the
They
wide
won't get
receivers.
Well,
Yeah.
I
They've
think
got no wide receivers, right? with it?
No, it's not the best time to bring in a new QB when you probably be better waited week 5 when Golden Tate comes
Yeah.
back from
Yeah,
suspension.
that's it.
You've got more of
A
a
bit more to
possession
work with.
receiver, who's going to catch passes.
Yeah. But that's a bit harsh
Well, this
for
week
Eli.
the Giants play the Bucs.
It is.
don't they?
Yeah.
But they've ridden Eli.
And that
for the
should be
past
quite a
2
soft
years.
matchup, though, shouldn't it?
Should be, but if they've got no wide receivers,
Well, the Bucks have got a good defense, though, haven't they? That's
Really?
shown
Yes.
up a couple of
The
times.
Bucks defense has
You
been
like it?
playing well.
Okay.
But I mean, they haven't got the most brutal pass rush in the league, so that's good. You're not chucking him into the wolves. However, they're going to sling the ball. They're going to throw that
Yeah, they keep a fast-moving game.
and
And they're going to have to rely on Daniel Jones to
keep up.
keep up.
Well, or just try and break him with Saquon. You know, it's not a bad game to throw your quarterback out there.
No, it's certainly a better one than the Bills' defense.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
don't want
that's not as a Bills fan. That's just
Yeah, sure.
just saying.
Partially as a
Just
Bills.
saying.
it feels a little bit maybe like Eli is being penalised because he's got no one to throw to. So to say
Yes,
Eli's
yeah.
not doing well when he's not working with players he's got any experience with, really, is maybe a bit harsh on poor Eli.
Do you know what though? He's dealt with it really well as a true professional. I know what you're saying.
He's been around the league a long time, though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's easy to be a true professional with hundreds of millions of dollars in your pocket.
Yeah, it is
True
it
also,
is.
yeah.
It is.
I've
Yeah.
taken my payday. I'll see you all next time.
Did you hear the irony of his advice for Daniel Jones as well? Throw to a player in the same colour shirt as you.
Yeah.
That's a balls, isn't it?
Don't
Try and throw it to your own players as often as you can. What a hero.
Sage advice.
Truly, he's not wrong.
So
Can't
that's
quibble.
Eli down, and we're still not done with the quarterbacks who are gone,
No.
or at least going.
Yeah.
Eli isn't a major one, but there are certainly big scalps that have fallen this.
Yeah, well, Fitz is perhaps the biggest of the big
The-
scalps.
The news has just come
If
through
you-
for us that Rosen is going to be starting week 3, as if
Excellent.
things couldn't get any better for the Miami Dolphins.
And for Rosen, at least he had the opportunity to sit behind and out of these,
Yeah.
dumpster fires that are their games.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys' offensive line is just a mere wet dream for Rosen, isn't it? There's no chance he's going to get any
He just
protection
gaze
like that.
longingly at the Cowboys. Like,
Yeah.
they've all got stars. Why have they got stars and I've got this rotten-looking fish thing? I hope they play in that colour rush orange as well. They were so repulsive the last time.
It's been described as a naked tank.
Well, it's all the way out there, isn't it? It's not even trying anymore.
No.
Well, that again brings us neatly onto a new point. So, if you have defences in your fantasy football leagues, you pretty much want to be streaming whatever's playing against the Dolphins week in, week out at this point.
Yeah.
The high scoring player of week 2 was the Patriots defence, which is pretty pathetic by anyone's measure, isn't it?
It seems like it's just a little bit cheating.
Yeah.
Playing him is just a little bit
Yeah.
cheating. You're like, right, well,
Here's
I
the cheat
scored
code for the week.
nearly 40 points off my defence. Let's start from there. Because yours is going to get, what, 6? And you're going to be, oh, that was okay. Well, it's okay. You know. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. Well, I'm 31 points ahead of that.
Got a second QB playing this week, have you? Fella? Maybe a third.
And I expect the Cowboys to go out there this week and do something similar. I mean, the fact that Fitz isn't playing, they might not get the two pick sixes, but still. But it was, I mean, it's not really fair on the poor Finns, is it?
No, you've got to feel for the players because this is ruining a lot of their careers that haven't really got up and going.
I think
with
part of the
with
reason
shell
why
of the teams that's,
Minka
that's
Fitzpatrick has petitioned for his
Yeah.
trade out.
Yeah.
You don't want to be part of it.
No.
You have to look at it from both sides, though. An awful lot of players that otherwise would never get a chance to play
Yes,
in the
yeah,
NFL
it's
are
an
actually
opportunity.
playing in the NFL now.
Yeah.
The Dolphins.
They've rounded up some tramps and homos from around Miami, poked them into the game.
Rosen should be so lucky.
You've got to wonder how many XFL scouts are sniffing around the Dolphins games.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
I think the move with Rosen, we started to agree that was perhaps done more for the fans to try and give them something to go and watch, something that might light up the game a little bit, rather than just carry on with what they've seen before, which is just basically don't buy a ticket to this. It's a mess. You will only watch us get mangled.
Have you seen that they resorted to having a strip tent outside on the tailgate from one of the games just to get people there? I think that's the only reason. And a little
sending out hookers and blow for your ticket price. Welcome to Miami, gents. Going straight back to the 70s and 80s.
I don't get it. The stadium's empty. The parking lot's full.
So yeah, because basically the Finns are annihilating the integrity of the league, fantasy-wise, defences, should they even exist on your fantasy rosters?
I don't think so. There's very little reason in drafting one and keeping one.
True enough.
You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, they're always stream.
If you went Bears early, what's that giving you? Not a great deal.
At this point, yeah, it's not. I mean, you've not got that big play potential. They've held games to low scoring, but they're not in a massive score themselves.
There's not many points scored for yards allowed.
They're the most consistent, really, of defences so far in how they look and how they're playing, but they've returned no touchdowns so far.
No.
It looked like they were on for one.
A pick six is very rare, though, isn't it? Like you won't see one necessarily every week.
Oh no!
Across all of the games.
No.
So maybe there's something, some way of modifying the scoring for these
for defense.
For defenses.
The defences are there for a different purpose. If you're looking for a more intense game where it comes down to monitoring things more, defences are terrible for that because there is
they fluctuate quite
there's
wildly.
no accounting for a fumble recovery touchdown.
Yeah.
10-point swing.
Strip sack fumble into a six.
There you go.
Yeah.
We haven't seen any kick returns yet, have we, for TDs? I don't think.
Because it's a DST, not
Defense
just
special
defense.
teams. Yeah.
This year, it's going to be very interesting. Whoever's losing and gets the first waiver jumps straight on the defence that's facing Miami.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Your first round waiver picks always. Well, who's Miami's playing?
Yeah.
I'll just pick up the defence.
To the point that you're almost tempted to slot your bench with every single week that you can for it.
Yeah. And then the next target is whichever quarterback's playing Miami.
Yeah. Because even Breeze put up some big numbers against them, which I was reluctant. Brady, put up some big numbers.
Yeah, I benched Brady when I owned him because I figured he'd just go game manager and let the running back do the play. He was like, nah, mate, bombs.
Yeah. I kept the faith. He got me through.
Yeah, I picked him up and streamed him for a week. He's gone already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've dropped him now, but
Don't do the dirty on Brady like that.
No, I'm
Don't
not even
be so cold.
Not even going to call him back.
Yeah.
took him out for a nice fish dinner.
Never call him again. Well, then we'll play the Dolphin play.
Yeah. Until fish is back on the menu.
So there you go. Stream QB, stream defenses against the Dolphins. They are just a shit show.
And always consider dropping defences out your league.
For a more competitive league, get rid of the defence. Yeah.
Third wide receiver slot, I think, is my recommendation there.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Thin out the pool for them a bit, so there's not so much talent lying around. Yeah, make it more competitive.
We're not normally big on kickers either.
Ooh,
kickers are kickers.
I hate kickers. I hate them. Mainly because I've never had a kicker score more than my opponent's kicker. I don't know. Statistically, that must be amazing. But I always feel like I just start at least 6 points down. Whatever opponents I've got, I take those 6 points off. Just wind me up. And there's no judgments. You can grab a zero line.
There's a few Tucker. Tucker's going to hit you a 50-yarder.
Mint.
Goskowski.
Great.
But what we can say to our listeners out there is if you are in charge of the league, if you are a commissioner, at least one of them, basically just make the changes, press the buttons, take out the kickers and defence from your leagues for a year.
I don't know. I like them. I like kickers and defence.
I quite like them.
I'm old-fashioned. I'd keep
But
them in.
this is what I mean. We try it out. You try it out with your players. You see how it is that it goes through a year. You see if people feel more satisfied with their results or just pissed off that they couldn't roll the 6 for the week.
Yeah, well, this is what it is. I mean, you've got so many players that you've judged and you've put in and you've competed with other people for, and then you've got 2 random factors on the bottom of your thing, and they might do well, they might not. And, you know, and I don't dislike having a look round. I hate kickers because you can't really judge. Are they inside or outside? Ooh, you know, don't play a kicker who's kicking at Buffalo on a windy day. You know, this is the kind of thing. Whereas defences, there's a little bit more judgment.
Well, I can tell you now, Jay would have serious issue with you on that.
Yeah,
on that
certainly would.
So
a little bit of a kicking gurry we've
Jay,
got in the league.
The taco of our group.
I think there's competition for the taco of the group.
I rest my case.
Some of us draft Mahomes in the second consistently. Maybe there's more than one taco.
Even the ageing NFL app that's had a facelift lately still has options in it for resetting the scoring system a little bit. So don't be afraid of playing with that and moving away from standard / non-PPR /
Experience
normal scoring.
A few different
that's it.
formats is the best way to do it.
Play
Find one that
multiple
you're
leagues.
happy with.
Yeah.
And sometimes just mix it up anyway because it's good fun to do that.
Well, we've got the one league that's the old man fuddy-duddy league that we don't like to touch, and a bunch of other leagues that have been the wildest experimental leagues that you'll come across, really. Defensive scoring that was cooked up by ourselves, that was interesting.
Wild.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
That's it. Got an understanding of defensive players that you wouldn't find normally just through fantasy football access.
Definitely.
Yeah, make more leagues, play more leagues.
Yeah.
Even if it's the same group, it still adds to the fantasy football experience.
There's no point playing 5 leagues with the same rules.
No, there isn't.
You know.
It's one of the more interesting ones that I'd seen to do was to literally just chop off the top 50 players. So whoever's ADP puts them in the top 50 picks, gone. They don't exist anymore. We don't pick from those players. We start from player number 51 and we draft from there.
Well, interesting.
Because then you're using a bit more of your smarts rather than just the set and forget starters.
Yeah.
You know, in a 10-player league, then you've lost your first 5 rounds of picks. Obviously, just thinking about it like that is an enormous difference to the way that your league drafts.
Yeah, definitely.
True. Although
much deeper down the line, like we have been for the Dynasty League.
that Dynasty League's destroyed other leagues like that.
Yeah.
An idea of a scarcity league like that, getting rid of the top players, playing with just the bottom echelons of the league, playing in a deep sleeper league where you're looking at players on the waiver who may or may not pick up 5 points as legitimate options to put on your bench.
Yeah.
You know, it puts it into a
Projected
different...
for 0.63 for the week. I can't fancy that guy though. He's going to have a big week at number 5 or number 8, you know.
Legitimate concerns that Tajay Shah is an undroppable play. Because at least he's had a target.
Welcome to Tennessee, folks.
And when you're really scraping the bottom of that barrel and you're not too sure with things, having a player that at least has the potential to catch a ball this week.
It's like when you go to your biscuit tin, you find out you've got no actual biscuits, but there are a lot of pieces of biscuits that come together, make up something satisfying enough to be counted as a biscuit at me.
That's a great analogy, yeah. Which rich tree crumbles have you got this week?
That's it.
Searching for a piece that you could dunk in your cup of tea that might survive the process and not have disintegrated entirely.
Talking about deep diving players, who's on the waivers this week that you've been eyeing up? Who did you pick up?
Literally, while we were prepping for this episode, I picked up Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I picked him up in the main league as well.
You want the Colonel.
Yeah.
You do, but you know what? If I picked him up and put him on, Burrito would go off and get the touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had Burrito last week, so Mustard got the
It's going
touchdown.
to be this Jeff Smith, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Jeff. Old Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
He hates fantasy football players. The man just despises fantasy football. Convinced everyone to take Dante Pettis. Benched him. Wow, in your face. It's going to be our number 1. Oh, he's great. Oh, no, he's terrible.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. They are a trap. But yeah, he's going to be good. Because they're going to run the ball. They're offence. They're doing really well, aren't they? I thought they'd be shit.
Who's it they play again this week? the 49ers. Steelers as well.
Ooh,
That's a tasty matchup for the Niners defense, isn't it?
It's tasty,
It's kind of been rocking
tasty.
and rolling against
Yeah.
weaker opposition, admittedly, but this time we've got the Steelers. I think that might be a good match.
It couldn't have gone worse for the Steelers, could it? This season.
It's,
Well, I mean, they could have all just exploded. You know, they could
They're
have got
starting to though. Connor's down. It's only going to take Juju stub his toe, and he might be out for a few weeks, thinking, "Oh, do I really want to stand here?"
well, he
getting
was
passed
injured,
to?"
wasn't he, last
Was.
game?
Yeah, played with
scare,
an injury.
but he's good. I think to go. Good
God.
to go. So who else has people picked up after Mustard?
I have gone. I've put in my faith in Jameis Winston. He's going to be the week. He's turning it around, guys.
Oh, Ben.
Oh, Ben.
Oh, Ben. You're going to learn a very valuable lesson.
Gonna happen.
swinging for that low-hanging fruit in Giants.
So you've dropped Brady, who plays the Jets,
Yes,
in favour of Jameis Winston, who plays the Giants.
exactly.
Okay.
Because the Giants secondary is awful,
Yeah.
and their defensive line isn't great. So I think that he's going to have a big week. So I'm going with him. I'm going roll.
You're not worried that perhaps he'll do what he used to do, which is get ahead, just become game manager, not maybe look to get that passing offense going.
That was under a different coach, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bruce Arians is just going to be...
Yeah, Bruce
All
Arians
out.
doesn't have that sense. He doesn't like manage a clock. I don't think he believes in a clock. He just goes. And you know, he coaches like he coaches. Because we all thought he'd go there and he might alter his scheme a bit. He's got OJ Howard, hasn't he? He might start using a tight end. No. He does what he does. And I hope this week he's going to throw the ball a lot to Mike Evans. I'm in a tough matchup, so I've
That's what you're willing it on for.
like Arians himself says, you've got to risk it for the biscuits, and that's what I'm doing.
What biscuit references in our show today?
going on.
There you go. The biscuit analogy says, go Winston. So there you go. That's my waiver wire.
I'm not sure I could follow up with that. I don't like the idea of taking Jameis Winston at all, ever. The guy is pure risk and no biscuit for me.
Have you ever played him before? Have you ever had him in your team before?
Yeah, I played him last year.
Maybe you should have learned to not.
I just think the Giants are that bad.
That's fair. That's a fair comment. And
Yeah.
I don't think you'll find a lot of argument.
If it was anyone else, I think they're ranked 32nd, 31st in
Against fantasy.
yeah, in giving up points to.
It can't be 32nd, can they?
No.
Could
There's
not
only
be
one
the
30
Dolphins.
seconds.
Yes, they were 31st. Yeah, that's why I've gone with them.
Yeah.
Well, something that might mislead, I think, at this point is that the stats that have been referenced have only across the last 2 weeks.
2 weeks worth of
So
data.
the Chiefs typically give up a lot of points, but Derek Carr decided he wasn't going to go along with that idea. He was like, I don't want any points though. You can't make me. I do what I want. So we've got a small sample size for all those kind of statistics just at the moment. So don't be led too far astray.
No.
I know,
It's
this
a bold move, Ben. It's a bold move. Fair play.
You've got to be bold. You've got to be bold, haven't you? Not much for Brady at the Jets. Because
No, they've got a good defence.
Yeah. And he's going to get ahead and probably stay ahead. And who's my other one? Or I could go old Matty Ice versus the Colts.
Well, there are a few replacement QBs stepping in for the week, so that might shake things out a little bit. I mean, we could have a very exciting week from Teddy Bridgewater, presumably who's the starter at the Saints while Breeze is out.
Well, they're going for a few 2 QB sets, aren't they, the Saints? And they're going to get Taysom Hill involved.
Yeah, I hope so.
So,
Wacky player as he is.
yeah. So that might perhaps dissuade you from Teddy a little bit,
Could be.
perhaps.
I owned Mason Rudolph at the start of this year in our Dynasty League, not being sure entirely what was going to happen. Could turn out to be that he shakes things up in Steeler Town and makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't plant a lot of flags on that if I'm completely
Well,
honest.
no, but they've got a very attacking team. And
they've got a
they
strong
go all
offensive
out.
line.
They've got good
doesn't
players.
seem injured.
A very good offensive line. So he could get time in the pocket, enough time for a rookie to
Build
take
something
those longer reads and make the better pass, hopefully. But
up. See how it pans out.
we will. Because, mind you, the 49ers front line is very
Powerful.
scary. Very
Wow.
scary.
I wouldn't go near the Steelers this week.
No, I wouldn't either.
Have you got a sexy pickup for the week, Wick?
I'm going to keep touting it. Will Disley's still on your waivers. Go and get him. Go and get him. Sure, he got picked up a bit more this week.
So week 1, when you had total faith in the guy and benched him over Hawkinson and looked like a bit of a pudding because Hawkinson had kind of an amazing week.
Yep.
And then week 2.
Oh yeah, I did the opposite.
Yeah, played Hawkinson because you felt a little bit foolish not to, and then you're like, oh, so Disley's gone off on one, has he?
That's it. Yep. Now the Disley train was never gone with it. You can just play the one tight end, so make your picks with it. But no, Disley looked like he found that kind of connection that was there with Russell Wilson in the first couple of games for last season, and he looked good with it as well.
Well, it's fair comment. There was a tight end that had kind of blinding week, wasn't there? Played for the Ravens.
Yeah. Mark Andrews yet again. He's racking them up for me. Yeah. Lovely. I've got him in 4 of the 5 leagues I'm in, and I'm just locked and loaded.
Rough when the Ravens get found out.
Maybe, but they play the Chiefs this week.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I've got high hopes for that.
Oh, it's going to be bad.
I don't think the Chiefs are a findy out kind of a team, are they? They're just like, we're going to score lots of points. Keep up with us.
Mm-hmm.
Go as fast as you can.
You know what the Ravens are good at? They're typically good at not letting teams get ahead of them.
Yeah.
We rule out the Miami game, pretend it didn't happen. The Ravens have just scraped by a victory against the Cardinals, who were the Dolphins of last year.
Yes.
Yeah. So currently they've played 2 of the worst teams.
I wouldn't say that the Cardinals aren't as bad as people are giving them.
They were very
I was
bad.
saying last week that they're not that bad, and I'm not that wrong because they gave the Ravens a bit of a game.
Yeah.
But that could be that the Ravens just aren't that good. I could be wrong.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs is a good test for it because going from 2 teams that aren't going to put much up to a guy who can score 4 touchdowns in one quarter and then just pack up for lunch, throw a couple of no-lookers.
What defences have they
smile a
played
bit
against? The
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay,
yeah. So, where they put 40 points up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Raiders, admittedly, that was a bit of a shaky start for them.
But I hate to break it to you, but the regression from Mahomes has started already.
Has it?
Last year, first 2 opening games, how many touchdowns did he throw?
Oh, was it 8?
10.
Oh, 10.
This year, 7.
Oh,
busted.
He's gone.
It's happened already.
7 touchdowns, which is only equal to Jackson, who played the Miami Dolphins.
That still puts him on pace for a 50 touchdown season.
Did you not put your cat on mute?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week.
No, it will. I think that would be the game of the week for me, Ravens and Chiefs. I think it would be a really good one to see for both sides.
Well, on the Chiefs subject, are we likely to want to follow someone like Robinson, their receiver that had this breakout week?
Yes, I mean...
I would have if I could.
Watkins did it last week though. Why the shift now? Is it going to be a shift to Hardman or back to Watkins? Are they going to stick with?
They just randomly drag Pringle up and throw him into the mix and give him a load of points for the week.
Is
he trying to mess with his fantasy football players as well?
Is Kelsey going to go mental?
I hope so.
That was my prediction. Is Kelsey's turn for 3 touchdowns? Yeah.
Oh, it could be. If he starts looking where he's passing, there's a good chance of that.
Yeah. Still, though, when he throws 4 touchdowns like that, it makes it look effortless. 2 drives from his own 5-yard line, just straight down the field.
That's really good.
He was something special last week. But Will Disley was my original pickup. You're not going to find Mahomes on the waivers.
No. How do we get onto that?
Yeah.
It's me. I turn everything to Mahomes.
Yeah, it's a love affair.
It's my
We
love
need to
affair.
get some slow music.
We're going to
Mahomes in red.
You have to have a swear jar for you.
Mahomes jar. Shit, that thing will be
When you
overflowing.
start gushing.
He doesn't. So he got an injury, didn't he? But he seems to have
Just an ankle sprain.
mostly got past it. Yeah.
On it, yeah.
But he got a bit knocked about in the previous game as well.
He took.
He came off the field. He's come off the field in both games now, hasn't he?
Yeah, and your left tackle's injured. He's out for a while.
Didn't make a difference.
I've heard that about left tackles.
Yeah. Apparently they're not a big deal.
No
You
big
heard it
deal.
here first.
That's not when you're going up against the Ravens.
Chiefs'
Definitely
rushing
don't-
game is not on form this year.
No. Well, they do not need it, have they?
This is the first big test, though. It's going to be interesting because
Yeah.
the Ravens' defense is good and their offense is good.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
I think there could be an upset. That's all I'm saying. I think the Ravens could take that.
Yeah.
We'll get
Could
to the
happen.
Survivor in a bit, eh?
Yeah. I don't think that strongly.
Any pickups that we're missing, Cal? Anyone that you've got on your radar?
Well, I mean, I picked up the obvious players in the shallower leagues where we've got players to pick from. The Dynasty League, there's very little still going around on the waivers there. I think if you've not owned Mason Rudolph at this point, he's a player to pick up.
There's one player that's just jumped out to me because I think he's fit. I don't know if he'll be a start. If he's fit, he will be a start. But Sterling Shepard with Daniel Jones perhaps starting against the Bucks, who are going to put up a lot of yards, he might be a worthwhile addition.
Yeah, it might be a sneaky one if someone's dropped him early on.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how these things shake out first. Like you could own the player to stash.
Yeah.
And see how that develops.
And the other one is Deebo Samuel for the 49ers.
Yeah, but
Against
again,
the Steelers.
sticking with what Ben was saying with it, he's talk that he's been overused. They might not want to go to him as much as they have. Rookie wide receivers, always a little bit sceptical.
Yeah, I think he's my boy for the 49ers there. I think Deebo will have a good game.
Well, you were
against the
touting
Steelers.
McLaurin last week. He's still on the waivers in quite a few
Yeah,
weeks.
he's had another great game. He's well
great.
worth picking up.
Yeah, I picked him up.
This is a weird thing that Case Keenum manages to do, where he can kind of pull up a team, can't he? He did it with the Vikings not so long back, and gave them a more exciting season than anyone was particularly expecting.
Yeah.
And it was fairly respectable when he was at the Rams before that.
Really, they should have stuck with him over paying Kirk Cousins.
It
Because
certainly looks that
he's-
way, doesn't it? What his season at the Broncos didn't really do very much for his resume. Like, basically nothing happened there. So he's kind of a weird one, but he does support a fairly well-rounded passing game, bizarrely, even though he's typically not very good. Like, his passer rating isn't great particularly, but he does manage to develop some receivers that are worth noting in fantasy.
Yeah, he's quite a safe game manager. Like,
Yeah,
I think we've
but
mentioned before, like an Alex Smith kind of player.
Yeah, and he becomes a worthy fantasy start himself, and is almost never drafted.
Yeah. Who do they play against?
The Bears.
Okay, never mind.
Because they play the Bears this week, but then I think it gets better for them.
So maybe a pick up and stash, but I wouldn't start any of their players this week against the Bears.
No, the Bears feel a lot like the Bills did a couple of years ago, which
Right,
was
yeah.
drag teams down to their level
Yeah.
and just stall these really low-scoring
It was
games.
more a stifling team than the big play defense that we were hoping for.
Yeah.
This is why I picked up. This is McLaurin. So they play the Bears this week, so you just leave him. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Then they play the Giants. So any pops.
Yeah.
Then he plays the Patriots. So off he goes again. That's sitting back down. Then he plays the Dolphins. Way back in. Him in there. So and if he's just there for 2 games, he can potentially put you up some decent wide
Yeah, if
receiver
you're getting
one
up a
numbers.
free player that's going to put up a 20-point week, that's as good as you could ever hope for, isn't it? Really, and the potential for that to be a real thing, it's got to be worth some respect, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's tricky at this point because there've been a lot of standout players that have done something in one week that may do very little in the next week. And you kind of got your eyes in a lot of different directions at this point, with it being the start of the year, thinking, which of these players do I put my money behind? From my perspective, having won both games in both leagues, suck it bitches, I don't have these problems. I don't have the opportunity to pick up any of these breakout players because everyone else gets them before I did. So I'm having to think ahead.
I need to lose early. You're going to lose early.
Absolutely.
Pick up the waiver wire.
Absolutely.
And then make your
The
late.
thing with us mentioning, though, wide receivers, tight ends, their week-to-week scoring can fluctuate a lot. Only having 2 weeks' worth of data,
It's
we
hard.
could be talking about John Ross being a legitimate wide receiver 2 for your league for the season. He might not score 10 points again.
Well, AJ Green is on track
AJ
to
Green's on the way
recover.
back. So Boyd or Ross is going to take a hit. Could be both of them. It could be that they both go down to 5 targets and AJ's getting 10, 12 targets a game.
What's their tight end situation like? Because they used to use that in the red
They
zone
got
quite a lot.
Ifit and...
He scored one last
We
week.
still got Croft there. He moved, didn't he?
No,
He's got
Bills
two
have got
Bills.
Croft now.
yeah, no, they picked up another one, but his name eludes me.
They got Uzoma.
Yes, that's the fella. Drew Sample's the other fella.
They drafted him, didn't they, this year?
Because as I remember from the Bengals, they would use the tight end a decent amount to grab those touchdowns. But I've not noticed
I
anything
thought
like that.
was of relevance at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
I think even Croft got off a few
Yeah.
TDs.
I don't think they've relied too heavily on the tight ends so far this season. There hasn't been enough to go around between Ross and Boyd for anyone else to get a look in there.
No.
True enough.
They haven't used the tap end. They gave Hughes almost some looks first game, and then didn't really do anything.
That's it. Ifit, I
Second
think,
game.
8 receptions, something like that. Nothing big.
He got a touchdown.
Yeah, he got
Yeah, a
touchdown.
touchdown, but it's not like he's had 20 receptions over the 2 games or anything.
Oh,
It's
well,
not
no.
standout.
Yeah, not many times.
There's something to think
No,
about
they
is
don't.
that there are going to be some players that underperform during these early games
Ooh, yeah, you're not
that people
wrong.
might drop. And something that we were talking about before we went to record is that in one of our leagues, Stephon Diggs was dropped.
Yeah,
Yep.
Not traded,
No,
just dropped.
just dropped.
And actually, the pickup was to drop Diggs and pick up DJ Chark,
Yeah,
which was very flattering for me and my Jags, but I thought it was a very ill-advised move.
Yeah.
Because ultimately Diggs will pay off at some point during the season, we expect.
Well, you'd
and
hope
just
so, but
and
they've
just
been-
letting him loose like that from your fantasy roster is probably a mistake.
It's a ballsy move for sure.
Yeah.
It's a ballsy move. Time will tell on it,
Yeah.
but I think the general consensus would be to hold on to Diggs.
But I don't think picking up DJ Chark's a bad thing
No,
because
absolutely
CD
not.
Westbrook hasn't
But
been.
You can probably find someone else, and something that I advocate for a lot with it is, if you're streaming your defence, just don't pick your defence until Sunday.
That's
Well,
true.
no, but
Just roster him up, wait for the injury report, see how it goes. If someone's injured, particularly if it's a bad one, out they go. So for me, it was Shady. Shady gets cut, someone comes in. It's nice and simple. But if Shady wasn't injured, then I'd have a real. No, I couldn't do it this week because my defence plays Miami. But any other week, I wouldn't think twice about dropping my defence. I have in a couple of leagues already. And then you can just hold off, and then you've got DJ Chark and you've got Diggs, and you don't feel like you've lost anything yet.
Yeah, you don't need to be making those kind of trade-offs this early on. And yeah, you might be disappointed with some of your players' lack of performance, but that's something to capitalise on from other people. They will be looking at their players thinking, this guy hasn't done anything yet. So it might be worth roaming around your league, having a little look at these other players who've basically done nothing at this point, or very little based on their draft position, and maybe looking to make some trades. Because these are, Stephon Diggs got dropped. Like, no one traded him, right?
No.
Someone just gave him away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The sad thing is, I would have traded for him.
that's right.
For sure. With
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, definitely.
And if people are willing to make those kind of moves, then you can be the one to capitalise on that. So maybe for next week, what we'll do actually, rather than looking at players that have got these upsides, is instead look at players that haven't achieved their mark at this point.
Yeah,
Don't
there's a few of
target
them.
these ones that are underperforming
That's right.
with the
Yeah.
hope that
Yeah,
They'll lift up.
maybe we can look at the the later parts of the league, and there are certainly going to be some returning players as well. Week 4 is a returning point for a few players who've come back from early game suspensions, who are going to be probably not currently owned in your leagues to be having an eye on picking up.
Bye week contention as well. You've got issues with a few injuries. A bye week drops on you. You need to start getting trades in, really. Otherwise, you're looking at picking up waivers and dropping people who you don't want to be dropping.
It's worth having some tentative forays to see what people are willing to let go of at this point.
Perhaps still a little too early in the season. People have got their own biases to their own players still.
Yes.
I picked him up, so I don't want to get rid of him. So you get trades where people think it's completely outlandish on both sides.
Yeah.
But it'll iron out a bit.
I mean, I think at this point, if you were trying to trade for AJ Green a few days ago, you might well have got him for something, because it would have looked like he was sitting out for say 6 weeks, and now it is that he might be back within 1-2 weeks.
Not playing this week, but play the Steelers in 2 weeks.
I think it's
could
a bit
be back for
longer
the
than
Steelers. Whether
He said on Wednesday last week that it would be more than what was quoted that he'd be out for.
this is a bit. We were talking
That's
about
from
this
him.
with it.
Yeah.
It's from him, but it's from when the injury happened, not
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
time.
but they were saying 6 to 8 weeks, and he said,
6
I
to
don't know
8
where that's come from the injury time.
From the injury
yeah,
bit.
so that would be week 4. But he said, I don't know where that's come from. It's,
And then he was
it's going to be
training.
longer than that.
Well, but then he was training today,
Yeah, but that doesn't
He's
mean he's
running.
fit for playing.
running. But he was,
running today,
yeah.
not running routes.
Yeah, there's a very different. Yeah,
Running.
It doesn't take long in the NFL because as soon as you can put weight on it, they'll strap you up and
I
shoot
know,
you
but
up
then
and send
it's
you
really
out.
dangerous because they'll run out and they re-aggravate it, and then
Yeah.
you just try.
out for longer.
You just tried your hardest to get a bloody
Yeah.
player that you've given something for, and
They don't seem to think like that in the NFL.
If you owned AJ Green at this point, what are you looking to do with him?
Probably sit on him. Wait. See what comes after.
So you're willing to hold a player for half the season to see
Well,
what
I-
happens?
I'd see.
I haven't because I didn't have him anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm not willing to sit on a player for half a season
There you
that
go.
I can't use.
It's hard to
And-
make a
and that-
decision as well.
And
but
that is all you've got to be working on to try and get this trade going. Is that someone who's owning AJ Green now is sitting on him thinking, I don't want to be sitting on him for half a season to try and get some value out of him afterwards. So if you offer up something that might look a bit tasty, you might very well pay off on this strategy. You know, it might be that he comes back from his injury relatively early and he starts to take the playtime away from the other guys. And that's what we're looking at. You don't necessarily have to give up a big player to get him.
No.
They'll just want a player that they could try and roster. So if you've got someone, if you were owning...
I've got him, and I'm shaking my head with you. I'm not looking to give him up for a piece of toffee that I can stick on my lineup.
Someone drops Stephon Diggs.
Someone drops
Just
Stephon
because you own
Diggs.
AJ Green
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're very
yeah.
precious with him.
If
doesn't
you own
mean someone else won't be.
If you own AJ Green and you've just got the news that he's fit and you've sat on him,
You're hoping for the best then, aren't you?
you're trading him for what he's worth if he's fit and doing well. Because otherwise you've just wasted weeks and you could have just not.
That's one way of looking at it. Some people
No,
would look
yeah.
at it as cutting their losses and thinking,
Yeah.
I'm definitely
Yeah.
not getting any place
You
out
cut-
of
I
it.
mean,
cut
if
your
you're
losses
0-2,
yesterday.
Are you needing to win now?
Yeah.
You think, right, well, I need to get rid of him. I need somebody worthwhile that I can get trade value for. It's all circumstantial, depends on what wide receivers you've got on your roster.
But it is value taken up. Once he was actually active in a role rather than just sitting out completely.
But don't forget how well
Takes
Ross and Boyd have performed in his absence. So would they rush him back?
You
Have
don't
they needed to?
You don't not use AJ Green if you've got him.
No, but as a franchise, the Bengals,
They'll
do
rush
they
him back.
rush him back?
The season's only 16 weeks. You can't afford to not play him for 6.
They're not
If he can-
expecting
if
to
he
get
can play
anywhere with
week
this
4
team this year, though, the Bengals, are they?
No, they're doing better than you
They need
expected.
to,
They're
they need
certainly
to
better than
sign
any
because this is
expectation
his
I'd call
contract year.
AJ,
AJ Green.
they won't renew his contract after this year. They'll run him into the ground. That's why he'll be
Well,
back.
then do you play as a player?
Pardon?
Would you play as a player?
As AJ Green, you won't have a chance to play anywhere else if you get injured again.
Exactly, so you don't play.
And if you don't play, people will think that you're injured and you won't get a contract offer that's worth anything.
No, so you're a free agent AJ Green that's fit because you've not played. People are going to look at you.
best
It'll be
case
one
for
of those 1-year,
AJ,
2-year contracts.
best place for AJ is if he performs well this year.
Well,
They
getting
don't
out
know
of the
what he's
Bengals would
capable
probably be the
of.
best
It's
thing for
staying
him.
fit for him that's the
Fit,
problem.
that's why he's got to come back and make a statement. He's got to be fit
Come
for.
back and re-aggravate an injured ankle.
Then he's no better off than if he doesn't play. But at least he's had a chance.
I think we've gone off on a tangent here, lads.
Yes.
My original point is that somebody drops Stephon Diggs. And if somebody's willing to drop a player like that at this point in the league, there's definitely a trade you could have made to get hold of that Stephon
Yes.
Diggs before he
Yeah,
went to the waiver wire.
definitely.
For sure.
Yeah?
I mean, Diggs has not had a good season, and the Vikings
No.
are not throwing the ball well. So to get rid of him, yeah, it's not the craziest.
No,
He did score a touchdown though last week, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare. I don't think I could face ditching a player after they'd scored for me. There's the door, mate. Should have been 2. Out.
No, as I remember a couple of years back when, I think when Diggs was coming into the league, one of his earliest weeks, he landed like 35 points for fantasy.
Yeah.
And
had a
he
few good
absolutely
weeks,
barnstormed his week, and you were like, "Fuck me, let's all own a bit of Stephon Diggs."
Yeah.
And after that, his weekly upside was very high, and when he scored very well. Thielen, I think, has performed very well, but on a much more even level.
Yeah,
whereas
more consistent,
Diggs,
yeah.
in my mind, certainly whether the stats bear it out or not, appeared to go higher and lower and higher and lower weeks
Yeah,
a week.
definitely.
So these are probably just Diggs' low weeks. I mean, Kirk Cousins isn't helping the situation.
Not at all.
But I would expect Diggs to recover from this and have a
I
few
would.
very worthwhile weeks for owning him in.
We've been playing with a hamstring injury as well, like a niggle that's been on
Yeah.
for the first 2 weeks. So he's not even been full fitness.
Well, for next week, I think we can all go away, do a little bit of homework, and find out who else has been underperforming their ADP positions. I can tell you who has not been underperforming his ADP. Austin Eckler. Hey boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, he didn't do this last year.
He's a player I targeted
Gordon
both of the
went
leagues,
yeah.
and I thought, the Melvin Gordon injury, I'm very disappointed because I tried to own Melvin Gordon in the leagues as well. But I thought, I'll back my play, I'll get my Melvin, but I'll also get my Eckler. And turns out Eckler Done very well for me so far.
He's come out as well and said that he's going to be playing in 2019, hasn't he, Melvin Gordon?
Yes, he
He
is
doesn't
playing.
know where, but he's going to play somewhere.
There's been very little interest in him for trades though. Like no one wants him.
Yeah, they've got high trade price on him. They're expecting a first, and I think the only offer they've received is Jordan Howard and an exchange of mid-round picks.
It's underwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
I mean, that's all. In my opinion, that is like having no interest.
Yeah. And do the Eagles need him?
Not really.
Sure, why not?
They've got Miles Sanders. How big is that
So
running back
many.
room? My God. Interesting that they were the ones to make the trade, though, when there's other teams that have much more of a need at running back.
I think a lot of teams will have considered what Melvin could do for their team,
Yeah.
but they're not actually tabled an offer because they're not comfortable taking on
Probably so.
what is going to be quite a large contract for the guy.
It's the money. It's the money they don't. It's not the
Yeah.
draft pick they want.
Because whoever trades for him has got to renegotiate his contract, I think,
Yeah.
haven't they? Which is where...
I mean, he was being offered around 10 million from the Chargers,
Yeah.
so clearly he wanted more than that, and that's a lot,
I think
really.
he was wanting about 13, if I'm not mistaken. 13 a year,
Could be.
which is a big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, Bell's concern was about his guaranteed money, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I haven't heard that about Melvin's contract.
No, I'm not sure of the complications
different
with it.
with
But,
it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just there's a big gap between them, I think.
So, well, we're talking Chargers though, and the Chargers
yeah.
4. Yeah.
Survivor League's probably not my thing, apparently. Yeah, I didn't make it through the week, unfortunately.
This might be a very short segment for us. We're down to 2 people left.
But the whole point of Survivor is to go through the teams, cross them off as you go. So you've got to be brave at some point, and it turned out that me and Cal weren't brave, we were just foolish.
Yeah, I didn't feel brave at all thinking the Chargers were going to beat the Lions, but like I say, if you've watched the game, you saw the sort of things that were being called up. The Chargers just couldn't win. It was like destiny was going in a different direction, / referees. And kicking, and everything else really. It was awful. It was really bad.
Bad game.
Really
Bad game. Didn't go well for Cam and the Panthers.
Your prediction for the Panthers beating the Bucks seemed, fairly comfortable.
I thought I was ruling out a team that I wouldn't have to worry about taking again later. So I thought I was making it easier later. But no, it didn't work. Didn't work at all.
Okay, so last week's Survivor, where I failed with the Chargers and Wig failed with the Panthers. Dan succeeded with the Ravens, and Ben succeeded with the Cowboys. So individually, we're not to pick those teams again. Now, I honestly don't want to pick another team because I'll just get it wrong.
Well, let's run down the list, the games, and then when we get to one where you want to pick your survivor, then we can go. So, Bengals at Bills.
Well, we've got the Jags-Titans game.
Oh yeah, we've got that.
Thursday
Yeah,
night.
that's
You've got to go against your team, surely.
Well,
I just know that the Titans will win. I just know it because it always freaking happens.
the Cal's taking the Titans.
Yeah, we don't even need to get into the weekend because Cal is a titan.
And do we all feel the Titans are going to win that game?
No, the Jags are going to. Yeah, of course the Titans are going to win.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think
it's
so.
gonna be a very
Which
rough day.
you know the result of this game by now.
Yeah.
This is shortly coming up.
So the next game we've got is the Bengals and the Bills. If anyone wants to pick that,
It's a tough one, isn't it?
I think the Bills are going to
Come
take
on,
that
guys,
one. I
stop.
think,
Stop rubbing me off.
For the record,
That's not what happens on this show. I promise.
no one is rubbing Dan off.
Well,
I don't know what I meant. But that was not it.
You just got very excited that the Bills going 3-0, didn't you?
It's
Jets.
what I'm going to be doing after I've seen the results.
Hey,
Rubbing
there we
one
go.
Lions versus Eagles.
Oh, now that's a tricky one.
That is a tricky one, but I think the Lions.
Confident enough to take him?
Oh.
Nope.
No, not confident enough to take him. Don't think anyone else is. Anyone confident enough the Eagles will win?
No. That's too
The
close.
Eagles with no receiving core.
Versus the Lions with
With
the
the-
Lions offense.
Yeah.
Danny Amendola. Anyone see how well he did this week?
He didn't.
He didn't. No, 0 points. Nil point. Danny Amendola. Yeah, what was it like? 14 targets, 20 points.
Great catch by him on the sideline.
Yeah. And an easy as you like touchdown to him as well. Pass.
Yeah.
Made it look easy. Yeah.
How about Jets Patriots?
Jets Patriots. Yeah.
Jets.
All
Patriots.
day of the week.
Jets don't have a QB, so who wants to buy that one?
No one.
Based on how bad I did this week,
You're going to take it?
tempted with that. Just to be
What
dirty.
happens? Just get the free
with
points.
Patriots.
Oh, right. Oh,
Cashy Pats in
Has to be
now.
Pats in now. But it feels dirty going Pats at all. So
It's at Foxborough as well, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Home
God
game.
Lord. The Jets are just being led out to the slaughter, aren't they? And our sacrifice this week is...
Their defense is
Full.
going to put pressure on Brady, though.
Oh, I don't.
Trust
yeah,
me.
I'm going to put my name next to the Pats. There we go.
Okay, you're going to regret it.
Low
mate.
hanging fruit.
You're going
Low-
to regret it, because this is where the Patriots...
Those
get
guys
the
went low
losses.
hanging fruit. We're not laughing at them this
We're
week.
betting on the Titans, bro.
You're betting on the Titans. It's fine. You went on the Chargers
I
against
should
the
get more
Lions
points.
last week.
I know, and I should have won
Versus the
too.
Lions.
Raiders, Vikings.
I want no
tough.
part.
I think
No
both
part.
teams are in a bit of a mess, aren't they? I don't think anyone wants to go near either of them.
Yeah.
I am going to go Vikings.
You actually taking that?
Ben
Yeah.
going Vikings.
I think that defence is going to come out and shut the Raiders down. I don't think Josh Jacobs can run this week. If he is, he's going to be a bit part player. It's just if it's at Minnesota, Cook's going to run. It's going to be a bad day for him.
Yeah, he has been doing well lately. It could be
Yeah.
that kind of game for them.
And Captain Kirk's going to have to turn it around at some point. The amount of money they paid for that guy, they
Yeah,
must be
and,
looking at him in that dressing room thinking, what are you doing?
And the Raiders are without Jonathan Abrams now. They're
Yeah,
number one.
that's
You know,
a
the
sad
first
loss.
round.
It
Yeah,
was
it is.
great to watch this year. just
Potentially,
wrecking people's faces.
Josh Jacobs could be missing time as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I
Yeah.
don't like the Raiders this week. If
Good
they had
shout
him,
then, I think, actually, yeah.
Because
Thinking
he's-
about it a bit more, I think the Vikings will be the favoured one. for
I
me.
think they're going to run him
I
out.
think
He's
you're
gonna
putting
be
too
ill.
much faith in
Dalvin Cook.
the Vikings offense.
No, they've
They-
also
they-
got a really good defense.
This was a team
which
that
is
someone
what-
managed to throw the game by about a 25-point loss to the Bills last year, wasn't it? This Vikings that annihilated everyone in Survivor. I don't know.
It's
When they
not-
seem strongest, that's really when they're weakest.
Yeah.
It's not so much you're worried in the sense that the Raiders are going to beat the Vikings, but you've got to be a bit worried about the Vikings being able to beat the Raiders.
I think they'll do it. I think
Puts a bit of doubt on it for me.
yeah, it's a
But
tough
I
one.
can't talk, I've gone Pats. So.
Yeah. I just think he performs well in games where the pressure's off. So he's not prime time.
Yeah.
He's middle of the pack against a side that aren't great.
Yeah.
But no one's expecting to wash them out. And I just think the pressure's going to be off and he'll be a bit better. I mean, they could go out and play awful and lose.
Sides
But-
that are great though. The Chiefs,
Chiefs
Ravens.
versus the Birds.
This is what game of the week everyone's excited for. It's going to
I
be 10
think
points
the
each into
Ravens
the
could
draw.
get a sneaky little upset.
Are you doing this? Is this where your money goes?
No.
No.
It'd be
that was far too tasty.
It'd be
That was going to be a
If I
spicy
was getting
meatball.
2 points for this, then yes, I would. If we had a Joker card to play.
Yeah, it'd be lovely
The
to have
Ravens.
tried to see you do that, but you took the Ravens last week.
Oh yeah, can't. Oh damn it! I was really gonna go for
You
that.
can
as
go
well.
for the Chiefs though.
No, because
Wow,
I don't.
You are going to be sadly mistaken when Mahomes scores 4 touchdowns in 4 quarters of time.
I think it'd be closer if it wasn't at Arrowhead. I think.
Yeah.
Away
Yeah.
Yeah.
is going to be tougher. I think the noise and the stadium, and it's just going to be. Yeah.
Oh God, it's embarrassing.
Chiefs chant, not very PC.
Can't call a team the Redskins, but that's fine.
So, what about Falcons Colts? You buying into that?
No,
Because Josh,
it's
you
a
left
tough
to pick
one,
now,
that
Dan.
is.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I'm going to just skip ahead a few and go for the 49ers over the Steelers.
No.
I like it.
Low.
I like when people bet against the Steelers. Now, I think game of the week for me is going to be Chargers Texans. I am actually excited for that.
That
Because
should be a good game.
those are 2 teams that will probably be able to make the postseason.
Yeah.
and I'd like to see how they play out against each other.
Yeah.
You say that, the Texans scraped past the Jags in a low-scoring, boring game. The Chargers lost to the Lions in a low-scoring, boring game. Two playoff-bound teams.
Again, if you'd watched either of the games, you'd think, oh, actually, this is kind of different. You know?
Houston scraped past. The Chiefs put 40 past them and basically packed up and went home. They even turned the TV cameras off.
This is more money in the swear jar.
Not
everything is about the Chiefs.
If we're going to talk about playoff teams, though, we have to look at Monday Night Football, don't we?
And that's the next one.
Yeah, the Rams are probably going to be there for sure.
Now, the Browns have had a bit of an iffy start to the season, but they're loaded up with talent.
It's rocky.
Touted to win their division. Make or break time. They're playing against a real team, that's got some proper bite to them. And we're going to see how they play against it.
I think the next 4 teams that the Browns play have all gone 2-0.
Ooh, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
And who do the Patriots play again?
It's not fair, is it? It's just not fair.
Something's wrong with this scheduling system. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, we've made our picks anyway. We'll do a little bit more research for next week. We'll find out who's top scrub. The worst of the best, or whatever we're going to call it this time. We need to find some underperformers and see if we can get them at value. So we'll see you next week for another episode.